Well, good morning, almost afternoon. It's good to see you all today. You guys having fun? Yeah, some good stuff today. I loved the panel myself. Did you guys love that panel? I was learning all kinds of things. I'm going to get back there and get my tests done for sure. So, yes, I am excited to be talking to you guys about marketing. So, who likes, when you think of the word marketing, does it get you excited?
Yes.
Yeah, good. I love that. No? That's okay. And we want to make it more fun, right? We definitely want to make it more fun. So let's talk about marketing. And what if we could do marketing without digital, without social media? Now, I believe we need social media. I think that's an important part of our mix. But I think we can do a lot without having to rely, I'm not one that goes live, 5 times a week. It's just not me. But I want to do marketing my way, and I want you to do marketing your way. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, is how do we do this, and what's changing in marketing right now, because a lot is changing. So today we're going to talk about unlocking this new marketing paradigm, because marketing is shifting, marketing is changing, and I'm going to talk about what I call a know, love, and trust ecosystem. And we're going to be throwing out the funnels and starting to look at marketing through a different lens. We're going to talk about rooted fire, and that means how you show up, how the presence of you, that rooted fire in you. So you're grounded, but you're also showing all of you, bringing all of you to the table. And then we're going to talk about redefining or redesigning your client journey. So how you speak your client's love language, how do you tap into them, how are you bringing clients into your business? So that's the journey we're going to go on today. And marketing is different. Has anybody noticed that how marketing was just even like 2 years ago is different than it was today? Have you noticed that? Things are changing. So here's some of the things that have changed. Google has a thing that they talk about the informed buyer. And that means that our buyers are going out and they're spending about 11 hours consuming your content across 7 different touch points, across 4 different platforms, before they're ever making a decision to work with you, right? So they're taking a lot of time to research, to figure out what is it that person teaches, and does it resonate for me? And what's good about this is that it can actually shorten our sales cycle, because by the time they get to you, they're like, oh my gosh, I have been following you. I know who you are. I like the work that you're bringing. So there's good in that. But the point of this is that they are doing the work. They're going out and doing a lot of research before they get there. Another thing is the sheer volume of information. So we get hit with 60,000 plus messages a day. That's a lot of messages. And so how do we weave between all of those messages? How do we let our messages land and be memorable? The answer is not doing more. And that's what I want to really get to is, I don't need you to be out there posting 5 times a day to try to get attention. What I want you to do is how you resonate really matters. How you show up on the stage, how people feel you and how they connect with you. And that's really important. That's where you get people to really fall in the trust associated with it. And being everywhere doesn't mean that you build that trust. So it's like you're building the trust in different ways. And funnels and algorithms are not necessarily delivering anymore. We're changing this up. So I'm going to talk to you about how what is working. Depth over noise. So long form content is important. So guest podcasting on your own show, long form written type of content that you can repurpose, and you can pull those little snippets out and that will work for you. But it's like that long form content is what helps people get to that consuming 11 hours of your content. Relationship over reach. And this one I will stand on all day long. It's like if we are building relationships with our marketing and our connections in this community, you guys are building amazing connections today. Barbara's built such a beautiful community of women. Relationship is all day long going to be the foundation that brings your business forward. Presence over performance. You've seen people get onto a stage and they perform and they project. or people that drop into their bodies and you can feel them, you get excited to be in the room with them, that's what you're wanting to do, is you're wanting to create that presence. And conversations create. So the more conversations you can be having with people, the more you're starting to build the legacy of your business. So let's look at this first one, unlocking the new marketing paradigm. This is really getting into what I call the know, love, and trust ecosystem. And when you do this, what you're doing is you're creating a repeatable, scalable marketing system in your business. And it's what brings your soul clients to you. You are building a nurturing sales system where you're really building a pipeline for now, but a pipeline into the future. And you're simplifying and you're streamlining your marketing with repeatable assets. So you're building things that you can use and repurpose and re-leverage. And I'm very big about what can you repurpose. If you go do a podcast, you can turn that into multiple pieces of content that just keeps your voice continuous out into your community, but you're repurposing things. So, and this is not about when you're building this nurturing sales system, it's not just about creating numbers. It's not about just boosting your numbers. It's very much about creating a place where you're building a business with more joy and ease, because it becomes a system that you can work. So let's forget funnels, right? Who's been taught funnels? You guys do you like to sit down and write funnel emails? I don't. I definitely don't. So what we're going to start talking about today is this ecosystem. And I call it a know, love, and trust ecosystem. And at the very top, this is where you're building your reach. This is where you're tapping into other people's audiences. You get into the middle is your resonance, and that's where you're building. That's where you're bringing your teachings. And at the base is your community. And the beautiful thing about this is you're starting to build an ecosystem. And let me just talk a little bit through this here. You're going to start at the bottom. You notice most funnels start at the very top. But you already have a group of people who know, love, and trust you. So I want you to start there and think about who are the people in your community that know, love, and trust you. Look for the referrals. Look for the ways that you can engage with that community. And then start to provide educational pieces for them. How do you take them deeper into your work? It might be through your webinars. It might be through your own podcast. It could be organic social. It could be your YouTube. I mean, it's like, how are you getting people, and how are you training people in your work so they get to get more into your work? And then the third one is where you're getting into other people's audiences. So stages, guest podcasting, those sorts of things can really start to provide you with tools to tap into other people's audiences so they're coming into your community. But the beautiful part of this is you're using the other people's audiences, and then you're taking them into the education. You're bringing them into your teachings and your trainings. You have your existing clients and people in your community that already know, love, and trust you, and you're bringing them into the education as well. What I find most often is that people aren't doing enough education, right? They're doing a lot of the other things, but you have a lot that you offer. So you're helping people get into that. And this is the really important part of this is you start at the bottom. You start at the base. Bottom is probably not the right word. Start at the base, where you are really bringing people who already know, love, and trust you into your teachings. So look for how you can bring more of your teachings to them. So your base of your marketing ecosystem is all about engaging the communities. It's your email, it's your direct messaging, it's communities of connection. So this is a community of connection that you're building. It's an event that you host. It's referral programs, it's sales calls and conversations. So that's at the base. So I want you to think about yours right now. How will you nurture and leverage the people in your community right now? Just jot that down for yourself. What's a way that you might up that game for yourself there? And then you get into the middle of that ecosystem, the educational piece. You're bringing your teachings to the forefront, workshops, events, retreats, webinars, master classes, your own podcast, live streaming, organic social. That's write that down for yourself. What do you want to do? You don't want to do all the things. You want to pick like one or two from each one of these levels. Otherwise, you're doing too much. You want to say, what do I want to get really good at? And then the top of the marketing ecosystem is about other people's audiences. So I do a thing called roundtables. And that's been really effective for me, where I did one with Barbara just last week. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And it was all about, we co-collaborate on something. We co-market together. We bring our voices. We talk about something. And so that's something that I do for that on a frequent basis. Speaking, guest podcasting, affiliate partnerships, guest publishing in like a Forbes or something like that, advertising, PR. Those are ways that you're tapping into other people's audiences.
I just had a question.
Sure.
For your roundtables,
Yeah.
are you doing that and announcing them kind of like as an event, or is this like something on a podcast? So how are you doing the roundtables?
We're doing them on Zoom, so it's a simple gathering. It's a conversation, and they're fun because we're just getting into a conversation, right? There's 4 of us. We do a conversation. It's like, let's talk about, I'm trying to think what we were talking about just recently. We were talking about women raising up their voices and building thought leadership. So, that's just, you find the theme that you want to talk with some of your best buddies with, and it's fun. What's not to love about it? So where are your breakthrough opportunities? Just think that through. I would love to hear a few shout outs. Like, where do you see that you could enhance your marketing ecosystem? Which level? Which one? All of them. Yeah, and you can definitely get there, right? It's like you can say, okay, I can do one thing from each one, but you don't want to do 5 things in each one. And I think that's one of the most important things. Who else? What, top? Yeah, so you're seeing that it's like there's opportunity to start tapping into other people's audiences. Cool. Any others? Middle. Okay, excellent. Middle and top. Yeah, and so that's a good way to just really start to analyze that. This is one of my clients who really applied this last year in a beautiful way, Ruth Kent, and she grew her business over 32% last year by really applying this to her business. And I think that's what's important is that you start creating an ecosystem versus a funnel. Next is rooted fire and magnetic visibility, and this is where you're really starting to stand as a leader in your voice and embody your message. And I think that 2025 is really calling for us to be bold in this time. Right now, we are being called, I believe that women's wisdom is the medicine our earth needs. And our voices are needed right now. So I want all of you finding your message and really standing it. And this is how you become known as the go-to expert in your field and you really stand out in original thought and content. So you're not just repeating somebody else's content. You're actually building this platform that you stand for. And then you become this sought-after expert that people are saying, come onto my podcast, come onto my stages, where people are looking for you. And this is the visibility. I always say that visibility is the fire in our marketing, and it also is what builds our trust. And when we are building our trust, this is where this long-form content helps build that trust, podcasts, panels, stages, and it's also where you can really leverage your long-form content of blogs and newsletters and that sort of thing, and stand for your original thoughts so people know what it is you stand for. So if the whole world could hear one message from you, what would it be? I want you to think about that. And it's when you write this question down, what is it you want to stand for? And if the whole world if you had one thing to say to the world, what would it be? Spend some time on this question. So we know Brene Brown. She stands for courage, right? We can choose courage or we can choose comfort, but we can't choose them both, right? So we know what she stands for. That is her platform. Gabby Bernstein, one of my favorites. I let go of my need to control and control the universe to do her thing. So this is very much about, the universe has our back. Thank you. I appreciate that. Malala. The girls should learn history and make it, right? We know she stands for education. This is mine. Women's wisdom is the medicine the earth needs, because I believe that with all of my heart. Dana Kirchmar is one of my clients, and she is a rocket scientist. She says, what if we stopped asking girls if they're good at math and started asking them what problems they wanted to solve? So she's on a mission, right? This is a really powerful one message for the world. Shelley Shell is another woman, another client. When women invest in companies they believe in, our world will change. And you guys will appreciate this one from Antoinette Thompson. Midlife isn't a crisis, it's an opportunity for profound momentum and impact, right? So put that one, take this one on your wall, right? This is one you want to keep. This is a time when I'm moving and making a difference. So your one message for the world, here's what it is. It's your opinion. It is memorable and it's repeatable. It's something that you're putting a stake in the ground and you're saying, this is what I stand for. It gets people to stop and think and act and do differently, right? It's like, okay, when we go back to Dana's, right? It's like, let's stop asking girls if they're good at math. It's getting them to do something differently. What it's not is a tagline or positioning statement. It's not marketing. It's not a quote from someone else. It's not an inspirational saying or something a common statement that you'd hear all the time, like, find your purpose, live your life. It's too common. It needs to be original thinking. So something that you stand for. And when you start to build this, what you do is you start to build a platform that is yours, uniquely yours, that you get to own. So write this question down and spend some time with it. What is it that you stand for? If you have one thing to say to the world, what is that? The rooted flame of this is something that I think is really important. I think this is an advantage that we have as women. When we start getting visible and being seen, we might have some limiting beliefs. Do you guys ever have any limiting beliefs when you're starting to get visible and be seen, right? That shows up. And then we start to get confident. And we start to build strength and power. And our voice, we can still be projecting, right? We can still be in that space of projecting. But where you really get to is when you get into the embodied leadership of your message, you get into becoming a beacon of light, and that's how you become a change maker. That's the power. I'm going to take a sip. Thank you for bringing me that. So this is Dana, and she's what's great watching her right now is because C-suite doors are opening for her because she has found her message. She's hosting executive exchanges. It's really shifted how she's showing up, being visible. Okay, now we're going to get into redesigning the client journey. So this is where we're getting to how do we speak our clients' love language? How are we attracting them into our world? And this is where we create a brand that's unforgettable and that gets people saying, I want more of your work. And it also helps you double and triple the lifetime value of your clients because you know what they need right now, but you also know what they need next. And that's the key to this, is like really knowing, being able to be, what does your client need next so that you can serve them? And it will simplify how you market because your content strategy is going to exist in a much better way. So I've got, I have one slide before I get to that one. So when you know their story, you get to the desired transformation that they want, and that's where you get to a yes to you. When you know what that client journey is, what that story is, what's keeping them awake at night, and what stories they're going through their minds over and over and over again, you're going to be able to build your offerings to serve this journey. So you're building how you serve your clients to serve by that journey, by doing that customer journey work. You're going to build your marketing and your content to serve that journey. And you're going to build your sales conversations to serve that journey. So that's the power of really diving deep. And this is not elementary work. When you do deep customer work, you're like really getting into the minds and heads and hearts of your customers. So I'm not going to read all these questions, but you might want to take a picture of this. These are great questions to get into your customer's journey. What is it that your customers care about? What are the conversations that they're having right now? I'm guessing that your customers, the conversations they're having right now are different than they were 6 months ago. So you really want to be like, what are those conversations right now my clients are having? And then you can get into like false beliefs, you can get into what's keeping them awake at night, you can get into all these different questions. But if you spend an hour journaling on this, you will know your clients better. And if you start to listen when you're having conversations with your clients and with your prospects, if you're really listening for the answers to these questions, you're going to walk away knowing your customer more deeply. And one of the things I'll say is speak to what your customers desire. There's a lot of marketing that will teach you to find out that pain and dig in the salt and be in the wounds of where they're at. And I'm just not about that. I want my people in my community to be able to see more for themselves than they can see by themselves. And so help them see bigger. Help them really tap into their desires and help them see things in a brighter way. I think that's a big thing that's changing. This is Kathleen June. She's another one of my clients, and she was really able to, by getting clear on this journey, she was able to quadruple her revenue because she was in this space of knowing what her clients needed next. So I think that's the beauty of that. So, just to recap, you've learned how to build a know, love, and trust marketing ecosystem to generate more soul clients in your business. This is very much about, it's about that creating an ecosystem. It's not about a funnel. And what I'd say about that is choose the ways that you want to market and become really good at them. Now, if you want to be podcasting, be a great podcaster. Get really good at it. If you want to be on stages, get really good at inviting people into your business that way. So just really look at it through that lens. And then you've learned that raising up your thought leadership message and presence will open more doors for you. So play with that one message for the world and let that come to life. That one message for the world will enable you to put your voice out in bigger ways. It will enable you to create your messaging strategy, what you speak to on stages, what you speak to when you get on podcasts. It will give you the platform for taking your message out in bigger ways. And to stand out as a leader in your space. I think that's really important. So when people think of you, they're like, oh my gosh, she's the one that does this. And then you learn that speaking your client's love language will attract more, what I call your soul clients into your business. So get to know who your soul clients are. This messaging all is going to feed into that marketing ecosystem. And what happens when you do that is your marketing becomes much easier, right? Because you have all the right tools that you can repurpose and re-leverage your marketing. This is Shelley Shell. She's actually speaking here this weekend, I believe. I am playing bigger, and my revenue has grown by 220% just by really getting clear on her messaging and showing up and being visible. I think that's an important part of this. And oftentimes it's just a small tweak. How do you I look at our businesses through the lens of 3 pillars: vision, voice, and visibility. And vision is very much about the right packaging, the right pricing. It's the vision of the impact that you want to make. It's the life that you want to create, and putting the right packaging and pricing. So that's one aspect of the way I look at businesses. The next one is the voice. Do you have the right messaging? Do you have your thought leadership messaging? Are you building your brand from the inside out? Are you speaking your client's love language? And then the third one is visibility. And visibility is your fire, it's your marketing, it's how you're putting your message out in the world. So I can look at those 3 pillars, and often it's just a small tweak. You guys are doing amazing things already, and oftentimes it's just a small tweak that you're making to change that up. So I do a prosperity audit that helps you look at those 3 pillars. I'm also a coach here this weekend, so I've got spots up. I'm on the 2nd floor today. And you guys can pop up there. I've got spaces where you can jump on my calendar for the next 2 days, and we can look at that and see how I can support you. And what's that small tweak you can make in your business that will make the difference for you? Your soul clients aren't looking for more noise, and this is really important, right? Your soul clients aren't looking for more noise. They're looking to feel. They're looking to be connected to you. They're wanting to trust before they ever reach out. So build ways that you can build that trust for them. They want to see you showing up consistently. It doesn't mean every single day. It means showing up consistently in a way that feels and looks like your work and that you're being authentic in that space. And they want to see you show up with consistency and heart. So where are you already trusted but not visible? Where are you trusted but not visible? And where can you get more visible? Because that's your fire in a way that you're connecting with people. I've got an event coming up called the Visibility Playbook for Women CEOs. It's coming up next month, or I guess next month. It's in May, and it's a free masterclass. If you guys want to join me there, that's the link to. You can grab a link there. And then connect with me on LinkedIn. That's a good place to connect with me. I'm Cami Guildner at CamiGuildner.com. My podcast is Extraordinary Women Radio. And I would love to connect. And just come by and see me and have a conversation. I love conversations. When I talk about conversations, they're really meaningful to me. I've had amazing conversations already today. And that's what I've got for you today. Thank you.